I'm back. Yeah, I finally got off my lazy ass. It's been sunny the last few days. I know I went outside looking like a human squashy, but we fuck with it. We fuck with it. It's a good look. So yeah, those all good times, positive vibes. But yeah, as always, the thing I'm going to be discussing today is not, because happy stories are boring, aren't they? Today I'm going to be telling you about what has been described as the most disgusting murder cases in UK history. And this is coming from the country that brought you Jack the Ripper, so it's really not great. These are the Moors murders. They were carried out by Ian Brady and Myra Hindley in Manchester from July 1963 to October 1965, when they were eventually caught. The victims were 5 children named Pauline Reed, John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey, and Edward Evans. My apologies. And they were aged between 10 and 17. So the couple began to get what's the word, reputation as sadomasochistic killers. That's a big fucking word. I need to start writing down small words for these people. They stalked their victims and persuaded them to go to the moors with them, where they would murder them and then sexually assault the body. And after they were done with all that, they buried them in shallow graves and went about planning their next attack. So there's a lot more known about Myra growing up than there is about Ian, because Ian was fostered off. His mother didn't want him, and he ended up getting into a life of crime. And the court system, instead of sending him to juvie when he was young, sent him back to live with the mother. And so he resented everyone from like day one, and he went down the line of, he was big into Nazi propaganda. He idolized Hitler. Just a really fucked up little fella, to be fair to him. But Myra, when she was growing up, she was seen as the innocent and vulnerable one in her school group. She was a very social person. She liked going to pubs, discos, clubs, all that good stuff. We love it ourselves. So she went from that to being known as the first woman to be actively involved in the serial killing and rape of children. It's a big leap. It's a big leap. Many people believe this occurred after the death of her best friend growing up, Michael Higgins, who she told she wasn't going to go out to on a certain day. She wanted to stay inside. So he said, alright, I went down to the local reservoir where he drowned. And Myra blamed herself for that, because she felt like if she was there, she would have been able to save him, or I don't know, just all those different thoughts ran through her head. And as I said, this is what most people consider to be her first nudge towards the path that she went down. After his death, she became very close with his parents, so much so that she converted to Catholicism and began to segregate herself from others and jumped into the Bible. But and that was fine for her for a while, 2 or 3 years. Then she began to feel like something was missing, and many doctors and psychologists have hypothesized that she felt like she was missing excitement, violence, all that stuff. So, and she got that when she met Ian, and she met him in a hotel where she became a receptionist, and she immediately became obsessed with him. So much so that she had a diary where she documented down the days where he looked at her and the days he didn't. So, and at the Christmas party that year, they officially became an item, and he pretty much immediately began to indoctrinate her with the words of Hitler, Nazi propaganda. He somehow managed to convince her that God wasn't real. So, you know, and then he began to introduce this fantasy that he had of raping and murdering children, and Myra saw that as the missing thing that was in her life, so she went along with it. She was excited, and she played a very helping hand in it. So what she would do is she would drive out among the town in a car, and he would be on a motorbike behind her. And if they ever drove past a child that Ian wanted to take away, he would flash the lights of his bike, and then Myra would pull up next to the child and try to convince her into the car. And because she was so well known around the town, like nobody ever saw her as a threat, or it wasn't like a stranger pulling up to the children. They all knew her as a family friend and as a local. So this happened 5 times, as I said, and each crime was basically the same. They would abduct the child, take him over to the moors of Manchester, and when they got out of the car, Ian would hit them on the back of the head with a shovel, and he would then murder them and have sex with their bodies. until they were found in 1965 when Ian thought for some reason that his brother would want some part in it. So when they kidnapped Edward Evans, he invited him over to partake in what was about to happen. And he did it reluctantly because of the threats that he got from his brother and from Myra. But as soon as it was over and they buried the body, he called the police and they were arrested for them, and they spent the rest of their lives in prison. So yeah, just a nice positive note for you. Hope you enjoyed it. I didn't. This was fucked. No, just I needed to clear my history after it. But all for you people, I suppose. Thank you very much. Good luck and thanks.